Take me back to Jankytown. I wanna get back to Jankytown. This is a funny thing I've noticed in myself that I'll make sure I have cash on me so I can give a tip, and then wherever it is, and then I try to take care of those little things in life because I think they add up. But sometimes I'll catch myself being in there and I'll like kind of go out of my way to like obviously give a tip. Oh yeah.
But wait till they turn around.
I'm looking for a reaction. I'm trying to pay $2 for someone to make me feel good about giving them $2. Like think about the dirtiness of that in a way.
I have the same thought with stuff. It was like
some guys would pay $3,000 to make a lady make them feel good.
More power to them.
And here I am spending $2.
Yeah, it's like those people on YouTube who buy food for the homeless, but they film it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's on a different scale of that, but it's like, I want to do something nice, but I also want people to know I'm doing something nice.
Well, this is it's the altruism debate. It's like, are you doing it or does it matter, right?
But can't you be doing it for both, is what I say. Can't you be doing it because it makes me feel good to be being nice to this service person, and like makes me feel like a good person, and also makes them happy.
Yeah,
so it's like a win-win.
Yeah, and I guess
I have the same thoughts you're having.
If I'm turning that around, if I'm that person, and I see someone give me a tip, does that make me happy to physically see a person give me a tip, or does it kind of put me on the spot to have to go out of my way to say thank you?
Yeah.
And in essence, I'm working even harder for that, instead of just at the end of the day looking at my tip jar and then taking a collective view of humanity and their generosity.
Well, to dive another layer deeper, maybe the person getting the tip knows what it's like to be the tipper, to want that approval, so they'll maybe give it to you.
That's great. Going back to Applebee's, Applebee's gonna be the theme of this show. I love it. It's already developing. One time when I was at a bar in Vermont, and quite inebriated, I would have to assume.
Sure.
Of those Budweiser American flag cans. I I left so I don't know if it was a busy night or whatever, but I think I was like a I don't know, $22 tab, say something like that, and I left $22 as the tip.
Yeah.
And then I wrote on the receipt 100% tip. I work at Applebee's. And I think it was probably enough said, because like at Applebee's generally people don't get tipped super well.
No, because it's like,
the Applebee's power dynamic is incredible. It's a whole psychological thing. I've used this analogy to talk to. You could use this as a life coach strategy.
What do you mean by the Applebee's power dynamic?
People are not in Applebee's for the food. People are in Applebee's. It's kind of like a BDSM thing. Like people are in Applebee's to have control and power over someone or something.
Wow.
Of course, it's not 100% of the time. Of course, this isn't like some sort of,
No,
but there's a very strong element of I had general managers even say as much. Like, people aren't in here for the food; they're in here for like the service.
To be served.
Yes, and what that means is like you would have there's this one great lady that would come in like every single day, or maybe she would come in like every Monday, every Wednesday. She would get like the same soup and sandwich combo, and like every time she would sit there and like deliberate as if she was like the first time she was making this choice, but she would get the same thing. And then every time she would find something wrong with it to try to get like her bill like lowered a little bit and comped, but she kept coming back for more.
You think she would have it figured out exactly how she wants it?
Yeah, so like it was just a weird. So it was like, and this is like sort of, I don't know why we're going about prostitution, but money and prostitution, like it's the reason they call it the oldest job in the world, because in some ways it was the first service job, and now our economy is built so much more on service than it is on labor, that we're always performing these little tasks for each other to like make people feel empowered and whatever it is. Let me check out the pizza.
I never really thought about that.
Oh, yeah.
Should we put it on the table to display it? All right.
This is the first in Jankytown, USA.
That's nice. I'm gonna get some nice chewing sounds right into the mic. People love that.
Yeah, I make it a point to forever keep this show as unprofessional as possible.
That's
why
great.
not, right?
Yeah.
They say dance like nobody's watching.
That's good.
And in terms of Jankytown, USA, nobody actually is watching. So that's
what I always used to tell people.
We actually don't even broadcast this show. I just do it for pretend, and then
yeah, sure. That's what I would say about MILF City. To like, if Josh was nervous or something, be like, no one is going to really hear this.
This is
so
inconsequential.
It's more for us to have a nice time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the things I learn while being on this podcast are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's not a lot of time, especially with the COVID and all this shit going on, where you get to actually sit down with someone, and especially because people's minds now are so distracted by phones and all that stuff, like to have a 2 or 3 hour conversation with somebody is becoming kind of a rare thing.
Yeah.
So it's really a treat for me to be able to do this.
It's great. Treat for me as well.
Treats across the board. So my Applebee's meal.
Yeah.
So that's essentially the Applebee's power dynamic, is that you want to like boss someone around and feel in control over somebody, which it's not hard to see why, like a lot of times in society that we're often, whether it's our jobs or whatever it is, we're oftentimes, especially, and this is the really great irony that I'm thinking about it right now. Because if you're an employee of Applebee's, you're held to these incredibly strict, like, performative, like, you have to greet them within so many seconds. Within 60 seconds, you have to have a drink at the table. Every time you go there, your first time you greet them, you have to suggest and upsell no less than 3 items from a certain menu. Like, you are essentially are a robot. Yeah. And so that's why it's so ironic, because the people that are there are trying to have this freedom and this power over people. Yeah. And a lot of times probably because of what corporate America turns them into. And yet, if you're an employee of Applebee's, you are every bit that. So it truly is like a great sort of like master, dominant, submissive relationship going on like cycle. There. Yeah, because the customer even has, you know what I'm saying? Like the person, I'm developing this in my mind now, so I'm getting excited about it and spinning my wheels. But the person that's working at Applebee's already has in place all those sort of rules and guidelines to make them a good sub, right? Because they're saying, well, what do you want me to do? Like, what would you like me to do? Yes, I will do this for you. And then the person's like, like, take this suit back.
Yes,
and
Daddy.
Like, yes, I'll take this suit back, Daddy. So basically, Applebee's is one big BDSM convention with like,
you're just getting domed
with
as a server.
Spinach artichoke dip and boneless wings.
Wow, that's crazy. That's creepy to me. The stuff about like you have to get to the table and do this in a certain amount of time. That kind of micromanaging is creepy.